recording. All right, we should be there, and then we will go ahead and get started. So thank you so much for coming to the ELAC meeting. I did send out a link for people to fill out and write down their questions. That way we make sure that everyone has a chance to get their questions answered. I will also be sending out a list of answers to the questions as well, in case we don't get to all of them. And I know that I already had some families that posted their questions. So the early posted questions help me to develop the slides, and then we'll have a question and answer at the end of the night tonight. Okay, so I'm not sure how many of you came to the various parent meetings, either through with the academies or the overall ones, but I wanted to give you just a brief overview of where we're headed this year. And so our plan for this year, our theme is Brave Leaders, Brave Learners. And we think that that applies to our staff, our students, and our parents, because we are all learning how to support our students, and our students are learning how to learn in this new world that we have. And so we have four main goals. One is we want you to find your squad, especially with our students being home for distance learning, and parents, playing a larger role. It's really important to find who are your people, whether it's family, friends, neighbors, whatever it is that you can call or talk to and get the support that you need. The next one is reframing your perspective. We, of course, could always have a negative take on this, but at Natomas Charter, we are looking at it as an opportunity for innovation and change. And so we'd like to make sure that as we're working with our students, even as things might be frustrating for us as adults, as things keep changing, we really want to keep it positive and say, okay, this is where we are, how can we make it better? Keep hold of your guide. That is, what is it that really feeds you, that, are your core tenets, and keep hold of that and stick to that. That's one thing we're doing at Natomas Charter School. Our path has not changed. We are still holding students as our priority, innovating, and being accountable. And that won't change whether we're in distance learning, hybrid learning, or back on campus with all of the students. And then, of course, practicing grace and patience, because we're not going to do this perfectly, right? Students are going to maybe, miss an assignment or miss a meeting. Teachers might have something, that they miss. Parents, I know I'm already trying to set up my daughter for success, and, we've missed, a thing or two along the way. So just have that patience and, and grace as we go through this, and we'll all get through it together. The objectives for today is to share with you a little bit about our transition to distance learning, talk about the supports that we'll have for all the students in the English learners, and then planning for the year, and then getting your feedback and questions. That's really an important part of the ELAC group, which is the English Learners Advisory Committee, because we need to hear from parents to get that other perspective, because we are a three-way team: the student, the staff at school, and the parents. And so it's important that we get your feedback. All right. So our goals are that we would like to get everyone back on campus as soon as possible, but we want to do it in a safe and healthy way that follows the guidance from the state and the county, so that we can keep all of our staff and students and families safe, and once we reopen, stay open. So we have been working all summer on this. We have been looking at different guidelines. We've been talking to public health experts. We actually have our local one on Phone a Friend. We call her all the time. Really focusing on collective safety. We have a safety committee that's been meeting all summer, and then we're trying to ensure that we are getting feedback from our families and our community. If you are a returning family, you've probably gotten quite a few surveys from us. We want to make sure that you are in the loop. We are planning for flexible learning plan. So stage 1 is if there's low risk of any COVID infection, that would be all students back on campus following the normal schedule. Stage 2 is hybrid learning. That's where the students are coming on just in small clusters. And then distance learning, which is how we are starting the year. So it is very, very important that we follow the guidelines, and as soon as it's possible to move to the next stage, we will. The legislature has defined distance learning or virtual schooling in these ways. It's that there are 3 different main components. One is that students must have live synchronous interaction and check-ins. And so that's something that we've built into our plan for both distance learning and hybrid, that there's video or audio instruction that the students will be utilizing. It might be live instruction, it might be a video that the teacher has made so that the students are getting that live teaching. And then they will have some print materials and assignments that they're turning in. So this is a whole new model that we're working with this year, but we are lucky enough that we have had at our school the Virtual Learning Academy, which taught us to do the distance learning. I was actually the principal of that academy when we moved from a traditional independent study to the Virtual Learning Academy. So we have some great experts on site for us. And we also have our homeschool academy, PACT, that has been doing this as well. So we are very happy that we have that opportunity. So the key elements of distance learning in California are as follows, but really it's important that we're meeting all of these requirements, from making sure that students are digitally connected. Hopefully you've received the required tech survey, where you're letting us know if you have internet, if your child needs a device. We had planned to have all students get a device at the beginning of the year. Unfortunately, we have had a delay in the delivery of a huge group of Chromebooks. So we are prioritizing the students who need it for the first day of school. We'll get it first, and then we will roll out to the rest of the students. But we are having our K through 1 students will have iPads because it's easier for them to touch and work with, and then our 2 through 12 will have Chromebooks that are available to them. We are making sure that we are serving the students with greatest needs, and that does sometimes include the English learners on our campus and making sure that they're getting the support that they need. We have tiered re-engagement strategies, so if students are missing meetings or they're not able to get their work done, then we have strategies that we're following to ensure that they are that they're getting what they need. So let's see. So we have been trying to plan for the entire year. Hopefully you've seen the COVID-19 reopening plan handbook. It has answers to how are we doing safe distancing, how are we having kids come on campus, all of those things. And we will continue to refine that as more information comes out from the state. And so things that we are looking to this year to ensure that we are really supporting our families. Students, we are hoping that we will get approval from the state to have distance learning hubs, which I think could be very beneficial for our English learners, where we're bringing very small groups of students on campus for extra support, but we'll have to wait for that. We're having virtual orientations and then the classroom connection activities. For our families, we are going to have ELAC meetings, but also there will be parent support meetings, parent advisory groups, workshops for parents and supporting your child through distance learning. We'll have a virtual back to school night. So we're planning a lot of things we can do to support everyone. The pivot to distance learning, as we're looking towards hybrid, this is our schedule. We're looking at an A-B double block. So the A group of students would be at school on Monday and Tuesday, and then they would be at home on Thursday, Friday. Group B would be at home on Monday, Tuesday, and at school on Thursday, Friday. And then we have Wednesday where no one is on campus, and we do a deep cleans to ensure that the two cohorts are staying separate and safe. We have been doing, as I said, a lot of stakeholder feedback and surveys, and so we found that we had some strengths from our school crisis schooling, that's what we call it, from last spring, because it wasn't anything that we had anticipated or planned for, although we were able to continually learn and make changes to ensure that we were giving appropriate support to our students. And so one of the things that we absolutely got feedback from parents and students is that they wanted more live teaching and recorded lessons. They wanted maybe some virtual performances or opportunities to take it to the next level. We are going to make it in the spring, the learning was optional due to the hold harmless requirement by the state, but in fall, students will need to do their work and it will impact their grades. And then we are working on, of course, more support for our students with highest needs. As I said, we're working on a one-to-one access to technology. And so we have a Chromebook handbook that you should be getting sent out to you, and you'll have a chance to sign that digitally with the student handbook once school gets started. And for those devices, we do have optional insurance policies that we've found ones that are fairly inexpensive. I believe it's like $30 a year in case you're concerned about your child with the device. I think I'm going to be doing that for my daughter for her device. And then by having a one-to-one, we're trying to ensure that the students all have similar access. But if your student does have a device that you would like them to use, as long as it has the ability to have a camera and it can hold a charge throughout the day and have access to Google Chrome applications, then they can use that. So what does this mean for English learners? So digging into why we're here tonight, I'm excited that we have over 24 languages at Natomas Charter School, which I think is fabulous to have such a wide variety of different backgrounds and languages on our campus. I think it provides a rich place for students to attend school and learn from each other. And as I said, our goal here is to get feedback from you as families to help us in supporting the students. We are putting together comprehensive supports. So the teachers are aware of the student proficiency levels from their ELPAC test if they completed it in the spring or previous years. And so they're using that to develop their lessons, and they're going to do it in a couple of different ways. One is integrated. That's where large groups, so they plan the supports into the unit that they're doing with the whole class. And what we've found is that many of the supports that benefit English learners actually benefit all students. And so those are things that we would integrate universally. And then there's designated, and that's where the teachers are going to pull students into small groups or ask them into office hours depending on the grade level of the student and what the area of need is. So that is where your student will be getting their designated support. So there won't be an English learner class or a specific English learner group, but the teacher will pull students to work with them in small groups or one-on-one. And that can be done through a breakout room. The teacher might say, hey, can you join this virtual meeting, and we'll work on some specific skills. And then, as I said, we're hoping to get learning hubs on site once the state approves that for us. So more learning support. So the staff all have office hours, and the students can drop in for support. And of course, as you know, the younger the children, the parents, you're welcome to drop in and share feedback and help your child to access the teacher. We are trying to put together very clear feedback loops, so the academy coordinators send out weekly emails and updates, and the teachers will be as well. And so we're going to have ongoing feedback where we find out what's going well, what can we improve, and then email and Google Chat are always ways that you can contact your academy coordinator or your teacher and ask for some support. And we do have a policy of a 48-hour turnaround on emails, because the teachers are teaching live for a majority of the day. Okay, LPAC testing this in last year, we got through about 2/3 of our students testing. The testing window is February to June for the LPAC testing. Last year, we were about 2/3 of the way done when we had COVID, have us move to distance learning. So the students who completed their testing, I just got notification that we will have the scores coming out. Those will be sent home. If your student did not complete their testing, unfortunately, the state is not giving out partial scores. And so we will be looking at how they're doing and looking at other assessments that they take in their courses. For 2020-2021 testing, the initial assessments are going to be August through September. The state may extend that deadline. And so if your student is new to California schools or new to US schools and has a prior first language, then we'll be doing an assessment just to make sure that we know what areas they might need support. And then all English learner students will participate in the summative assessments that will be in February to June. And I hope that we are back on campus so we can do that. Otherwise, we'll be setting up individual appointments with families to be able to do those testings. Their goal of the English learners is to get redesignated, which means that the student is showing that they are proficient in English and working on level. So the ways that happens is that the students earn a score of 4, so it's on a 1 to 4 basis for the LPAC. It shows that they're meeting grade level standards in their class, so making sure that they can utilize those English skills in the class, and then their CAS scores of a 3 or above in math and English language arts. This last year we didn't have CAS scores, so we would be looking at how they were doing on other school-based tests if we're looking at redesignation. And typically it can take 2 to 5 years for students once they enter school to go through the language acquisition process, and it'll just depend on the age of the child, how much exposure they've had, and especially if they're older students, how much training they have had in their home language academically, because then they can transfer those skills fairly quickly. So the question is, how can I support my child? For hybrid or in-person, definitely, make sure that you have your kids staying in the same groups with their classes, and then that we'll make sure that we are putting together classroom entry procedures, such as going in one door and out the other. We'll have hand washing, sanitizing stations, working on helping the students to remember to social distance. And then we do ask that you help by screening your child at home prior to coming to school. Once they come to school, we will be temperature screening the students. So as I said before, we really encourage you to be a part of the communication with the school, looking at family guides, going to the parent information and parent support sessions, weekly emails from your coordinator. But we really do need you to share with us what you're experiencing at home and what your child is experiencing at home, so that we can continue to improve for that, the benefit of the students. So it is really important as we get your child ready. And I say child, and I mean that could be up to our 18-year-olds. I know my daughter is 15, and I still consider her my baby. So, you know, really sending a clear message with our students, you know, that, you know, we're back to school, it's distance learning, but this is what we're doing. You know, we are making sure that we are putting a positive spin on it. You also want to set your student up for success at home. Make sure that they have a structured place where they go for their learning, where they can keep their Chromebook and the materials. You could maybe have a clock or a timer that's available to help them with keeping track of their timing. And then, you know, making sure that they do get outside and move their bodies, because that's a really important part of staying healthy and happy. We definitely want to familiarize our kids with wearing masks and physical distancing. I know I've been working with my daughter on, you know, what does 6 feet really look like when you're talking with someone? And, you know, we've noticed that with masks, sometimes people, it's a little harder to understand. And so we have to not move towards them. And then, you know, really making sure that your family is set up for success and explaining to your child, you know, why we're doing this, and, you know, that we're taking care of them, and making sure that everyone stays healthy and happy. So, you know, that's very important to message to our students. So, you know, going back to how we are ensuring that we're ready, staying connected, make sure that you're reaching out, plan for flexibility, because boy, things just change all the time this year, which is what we've learned. And so we just have to go with the flow. I know I've been saying that, you know, I'm just riding the waves of Corona, you know, like I guess I'm on a surfboard. I don't surf, but I'm on a surfboard, just riding the waves, waiting for, you know, how are we going to get through, you know, this new wave. And then really, you know, getting your student organized, getting them used to hand washing, wearing a mask, helping them be prepared, and then encouraging them to follow all the health guidelines. I know sometimes my teenager doesn't want to wear her mask, and we've been trying to, you know, bedazzle them up so that they'll be cool. But, you know, it's really about how do you get them to see that there is value in following the guidelines. So getting to that, we do have our ELAC meetings for this year planned out. We have September 28th, November 16th, February 1st, and May 17th. And at those, we'll be sharing what our latest updates are, and then talking about more and more specific topics as we get feedback from all of you. So it's time now for any questions and feedback. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that we can take a look at who I have here on the Zoom. I know it's always nicer when I can see you and see who I'm talking with here. All right. So, hello. Oh, hi. Look at that. I get to see some faces. That's fabulous. I'm changing my view so I can see everyone. Awesome. So let's see. I think I'm going to stop recording.